Willie Harold, a deserter, was running scared across the grassland from the German soldiers riding on a jeep. Harold reaches the forest as the German soldiers jump off the jeep and a sniper tries to shoot him but misses. Harold continues dashing across the forest until he trips to the ground and falls. As he is slumped on the ground, he hears voices and footsteps of German soldiers approaching. He quickly crawls to hide underneath the tree roots. German soldiers appear in the area where he fell, but they are unable to locate him. As Harold keeps hiding, he waits and observes the surroundings until everything is quiet. He still made sure that everything was clear, then he emerged from where he was hiding. Harold is wrapping his torn shoes with torn clothes when sees someone sluggishly walking in the railings. As he is somewhat fearful of him, he quickly runs towards him to take his rifle. But as soon as Harold realizes the soldier cannot stand any longer, he still helps the soldier, bringing him inside the abandoned house. The soldier helplessly sits on the ground. Harold stares at him while placing his weapon beside the door. The soldier fell asleep due to exhaustion. Comes nighttime, Harold with the soldier sees a hanging corpse on a tree with a warning sign on his neck saying that looting will be punished by death. But as they have not eaten for days, Harold asks the other to go with him to steal something to eat at a farm. Harold is taking the hen's eggs while his friend holds a big rock in front of the sleeping farmer in case he wakes up. Unfortunately, a horse made a sound that woke up the hen, which created a loud noise. The house owner opens their house and the farmer wakes up. Harold looks at his friend and tells him to throw the stone at the farmer, but his friend seems chickened out and flees. The farmer loudly signals his neighbor about having thieves around, prompting Harold to hit the farmer, crashing into a wooden ledge. When he searches for his friend, he witnesses the neighbors stabbing him to death. Harold ran away as fast as he could. The next day he continues traveling from place to place until he finds an abandoned vehicle. He found a case bearing a military uniform. Without hesitation, Harold wears it and eats fruits from the basket. While he is in captain's uniform, he also feels like he is a true captain. He jumbles apples while singing. He even imagines he is speaking and giving orders to his men. His imagination is interrupted when he sees another soldier approaching named Frydog. Harold nervously watches Frydog walking towards him, then he suddenly salutes at the soldier, introduces himself to Harold, and he wants to be under his command. He even offers to repair the vehicle and bring down his rifle. Frydog finishes fixing the vehicle and opens the door, but before he gets in he requests for Frydog's identification paper. Harold accuses Frydog that he deserted, but Frydog explains what happened to their unit. Harold returns his papers and gives Frydog an apple. Frydog thanked Harold as he had not eaten for days. As soon as they get inside the vehicle, Harold orders Frydog to find them an inn. While on the way, Harold throws his real clothes, making sure Frydog does not see it. He grins as he makes himself a new identity. When they arrived at an inn, they entered and surprised the people inside seeing him in uniform. He greeted them, but nobody greeted him back. The innkeeper tells Harold not to take it personally as they don't like seeing people wearing a uniform, especially the German ones. Then Harold speaks to the innkeeper, informing him about the condition behind the front. Harold told them that he was there to put an order against looting. Harold pretends that he was sent by Hitler himself. Harold walks toward the table and sits. Harold brings out his notebook to write and asks the innkeeper's name. He trembles and quickly admits he is in violation of certain regulations, but Harold clarifies he doesn't want trouble and that he just wants to bring back the items stolen from them. Now everyone starts listening to him and he gets their attention. Suddenly everyone goes to Harold and informs him about their loss. Inside Harold's room, he fixes the notebook while smoking when suddenly he hears a commotion outside. Harold looks out from the window and the innkeeper informs him that they caught a thief. Harold goes out and scrutinizes the thief. Harold walks toward the innkeeper and grabs a gun from him and shoots the thief mercilessly. Back in their room, Harold discusses with Frydog about their plans for tomorrow. They drive their way to a farm. They entered the farmhouse and were surprised there were deserters there. The deserters quickly pointed their guns at them, but Harold shouted boldly to lower their weapons and they froze. Harold orders Frydog to collect their marching orders. Kipinski explained they got separated from their unit. The woman interrupts, which upsets Kipinski and punches her. Harold saw a dead soldier and covers it with blanket. Harold sits at the table and the deserters express their desire to join his unit. Harold agrees and gives them a mission. On the table, Harold made a toast with his newly built military task force named Task Force Harold. On the way, while they are cooking in the woods, two soldiers with cannons approach them. Harold exits from his vehicle and speaks to them, and the two join their force. On their way, Harold heard an aircraft approaching. Harold told the gunner to go for them. But the gunner hardly missed them. They ran out of gas, and the rest of the team was seen pulling the vehicle with a rope, while Harold and Freitag is inside the vehicle. Kipinski got impatient and he asked Harold where exactly are they going. Harold answered that it is just right straight ahead. Kipinski rushes towards him and points his gun at Harold, but just in time a military police vehicle is passing by. They arrange themselves in a position while Harold stays at his truck while the military treats them aggressively. One of the military police went to Harold telling him to get down from the vehicle. Harold demands to talk with their CO. The CO approaches him and asks for Harold's papers. Harold explains that they are on a special mission ordered by the highest authority to check on the condition behind the front as the Führer hears alarming rumors there. The CO is skeptical and asks for his documents again, but before Harold gives his paper to the CO, he also asks for his papers. The CO is speechless and believes him and gives back the papers of Harold's men. Harold told the CO that he was willing to join them on their patrol so he could view the situation firsthand. To which the CO agrees. The CO towed their vehicle to take them into work camp 2. While they are arriving near the camp, Captain Junker joins them inside the vehicle. Harold recognizes him and he looks so nervous and freezing. Captain Junker looks at Harold and tells him that he looks familiar to him but can't remember where they met. Actually, Captain Junker is one of the group chasing Harold when he is escaping. While they reach work camp 2, Captain Junker invites Harold to drink while waiting for gas. Harold suspects that Captain Junker maybe finally realize who he really is, that's why he invited him for a drink to corner him. Nevertheless, Harold goes with him and takes his chances. Once inside the barn, Captain Junker asked his name again, to which Harold replied reiterating his name. As they just finish their toast, Harold quickly tells Captain Junker that he is going to see his men, but Captain Junker stops him for another drink, which makes Harold more uncomfortable. As they finish their second drink, an officer named Shudi enters. Captain Junker introduces Harold, mentioning Harold's special mission behind the front to the amazement of Shudi. Captain Junker and Shudi then share their dilemma with the prisoners, persuading Harold to take responsibility, but before Harold takes the deal he tells Captain Junker and Shudi to look after his men while he takes care of the prisoners. When Captain Junker was about to leave, Harold asked Captain Junker if they really met before, but Captain Junker said maybe not, to Harold's sigh of relief. All he thought was he was in danger of being recognized. Shudi invites Harold to the intersector as they enter the ward. Harold witnesses Shudi disciplining the prisoners. He permits Harold to interrogate them. As Shudi left, Harold starts interrogating, but no one answers. When Kipinski asks the prisoners about his crime, he finally answers. Harold nods and Kipinski beats the prisoner. The prisoner dies and Harold quickly orders Kipinski to line them up outside while Kipinski orders the prisoners to empty their pockets. Meanwhile, Shudi visits Chief Officer Hansen to inform the presence of Harold, who was sent by the Führer himself and wants to see the prisoners in the barracks. Hansen said he would be right there to see him. But before Shudi leaves, Hansen asks Shudi a favor to deliver something to his young concubine's father, to which Shudi mutters. Hansen was shocked to see that the prisoners were being shot and some were being beaten. He quickly went to find Shudi and ask what is going on. Shudi introduced Harold to Hansen. Hansen called Dr. Thiel a deputy special emissary for the Justice Department, telling him about Harold executing prisoners. After the conversation, Hansen relays the message to Harold that Dr. Thiel wants Harold not to take any further action and that a court-martial would be organized properly. On top of it, Harold's paper must be well verified first. Hearing this, Harold leaves. Shudi follows Harold, telling him that they will sort things out so everyone is happy. He told Harold that he knew the Gauleiter. He can call him and they will have no trouble keeping Dr. Thiel out of it. So Shudi called the Gauleiter and explained everything about Harold's presence authorized by the Führer. After some further discussion, the Gestapo grants Harold the proper authority inside the intersector. Right after, Shudi teases Hansen across the window, prompting Hansen to close the curtain. In the morning, half of the prisoners are ordered to arrange their formation and march while singing. Hansen gives Harold a sharp look before entering his quarter, and then Harold walks towards a vehicle along with Schutt as every prisoner lines up from the trench. Harold and Schutt stand before them, watching every prisoner shed blood as they fire the autocannon. When Shudi sees some prisoners are still alive, he quickly orders the soldiers to shoot them all. After the genocide, everyone finishes their meal and gets back to work. In the evening they continue to execute the remaining half of all the prisoners. Hansen makes a complaint through a call to Dr. Thiel regarding Harold's improper disposal of the prisoners. While they talk, Hansen hears unpleasant noises from the outside. After the call, Hansen goes through a window and shouts at the soldiers for wanting peace and order. Then he leaves the quarter to make a report. Harold, cede and his men had a celebration that night for disposing of the prisoners. The next day cede goes to Harold's tent and reports the local reserve cops want to start combing the areas. Then Harold begins to order his men to terrorize the civilian population that threatens their brothers in arms. Going back to the tent, Frydog is somewhat suspicious about Harold why his pants being too long, but he just shrugs it off and they proceed for a festivity. Cede and his reserve cops went back to the work camp and saw bodies scattered all over the place. Cede walks towards Harold when suddenly he explodes to their surprise. They were attacked by British forces. An aircraft started bombing work camp too, and the camp is all messed up. Only a few survived the attack. The survivors line up in front of Harold. Harold promotes Frydog and Kapinski to the rank of corporal while the others become sergeants. He told them to get themselves a uniform as they were done there. Riding in a military vehicle with a vandal named Express Court Harold and his men stop in front of the building. When he sees an older man coming out of the door, he shouts at him and calls him a traitor. Then his men catch him and Harold introduces himself as the head of Special Detachment, and Express Court Harold gives a speech to protect their fatherland with his law and order. Outside the hotel, Oranian, the Express Court Harold tries to steal things from people who walk while Harold accompanies himself inside a hotel. A girl named Erica enters and catches the attention of Harold. When Harold offered his hand for a dance, Kapinski quickly interrupted, taking Erica away. To his dismay, Harold orders his men to storm Kapinski's room where Erica is there too. He accuses Kapinski of burglary and high treason. Kapinski was executed while naked. Going back to the hotel, Harold organizes a party where women start dancing sexually while Harold and his men drool watching. But the happenings were cut short as military police arrived and arrested everyone inside, including Harold. Dr. Kramer discusses his crimes for impersonating an officer and organizing a massacre in work camp too. He sentences Harold to death by hanging. But another prosecutor stands with Harold and tells Dr. Kramer that despite his nonsense military demeanor, Harold shows excellent military leadership qualities as he protects their fatherland. Harold's case was suspended and was given an administrative transfer to the front. Harold escapes from his accommodation and is seen walking through skeletal remains in the forest. On May 23, 1945, the Royal Navy arrested Harold. On November 14, 1946, Harold and 6 of his accomplices were executed. He was just 21. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. See you in the next video.